Hi, everyone. This is Captain Kyle. I'm here at Chiller Theater with Alice Krige, who is an amazing actress, been in a lot of things, and I know her very well from Star Trek as the Borg Queen. How are you enjoying the con?
Enormously. I've mostly gone to Star Trek conventions, never to a chiller or a horror convention before. And there's a wonderful kind of atmosphere of enjoyment and lightness. It's been very, very friendly, very warm.
I'm glad to hear it. So, do you go to a lot of cons? You said mainly Star Trek. Have you been to quite a few of them?
It depends. You know, if I'm working, I don't. And it also kind of depends on how far I have to travel. Sometimes if I've been traveling a lot for work, I stay home. Or if I'm working, I can't go. But it's totally variable.
Well, that's totally understandable. So when you look around at these cons, you see a lot of people who like dress in costumes like superheroes, Star Trek people, horror costumes. What do you think of these people dressed in costume?
I love it. I think in our society, once you're grown up, you don't have permission to play. Not really. And I think that people that come to conventions dressed as characters, I absolutely love it because it's giving themselves permission to play like you were a child. After all, that's what I get to do every time I go to work. So I think it's wonderful, and I really celebrate it.
Now, you've been in a number of costumes in your work. Is there a particular one you liked a lot, or one that you didn't like a lot because it was too uncomfortable, or?
I suppose the most dramatic of them all would have been the Borg Queen. And in fact, I always refer to the performance as a collaboration, because you can't imagine the Borg Queen separate from what she looked like. And the person who created the head and the makeup was someone called Scott Wheeler, who's an exceptional makeup artist. And in fact, we've become good friends, and we've worked subsequently on other productions together. And Todd Masters created the suit. And it was extremely helpful to me in my performance. It really kind of catapulted me into a different space. So I'm eternally grateful to them for that. But usually, the costume is very important to me because it's the first concrete decision you make that you can really step back from. You decide on a wardrobe with a costume designer, and it's kind of, it happens obviously before you commit to film or tape. So it's a very important milestone in the journey of discovery of a character.
That would make sense because, yeah, knowing what they look like can also influence how you would play the character, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Was it uncomfortable when they removed your head for that scene? No, I'm kidding. So do you have anything new coming out soon that we can keep an eye out for?
I'm about to go to Hungary to work on a picture about which I'm very excited. It's called A Rose in Winter, and it's a true story. It's an account of the life of a remarkable woman called Edith Stein, who was born into an Orthodox Jewish family and was very devoted to her father, and she loses him when she's a young child, and with him kind of loses her faith. And then she's a very brilliant mind. She becomes a very great, highly respected teacher. And then in her early 20s, she converts to Roman Catholicism and requests to become a nun. And her archbishop won't let her. But at a crucial point in the Nazi advance in Germany, a terrible night called Kristallnacht, she goes to her archbishop and begs to be allowed to become a nun. She becomes a nun, and she immediately writes to the Pope and says, you have to stand up and be counted. You have to speak out against what's happening. And the Pope never replies. And then the war breaks out she lives this life of extraordinary service and humility and selflessness. The war breaks out and they send her to Holland because they think she'll be safe in Holland. Of course, no sooner does she get there than she persuades the Dutch bishops to stand up and speak out against what the Nazis are doing, which they do, and 3 days later she's rounded up and she's gassed in Auschwitz 5 days later. But she has been beatified. She was beatified by John Paul II because a number of miracles sort of occurred in her name. So I'm just very moved. Unfortunately, I'm too old to have been in the running for Edith, but I play a very dear friend of hers. And it just moves me very much to be in a production that is about something greater than ourselves. And I think it's very timely. So I look forward to going off to do that. It
sounds like an extraordinary story and an extraordinary movie. And I'm sure you'll do an extraordinary job on it.
I hope I do it justice.
So is there some social media places where people can follow you and hear about what you're doing?
I'm extremely bad about social media. I work with my husband on projects of his. So if I'm not acting, I'm really busy doing that. So I don't do much social media, but I do have a Facebook page. And I visit it. I'm very bad about replying, but I'm always very touched when people post things on it.
Well, we'll list the Facebook page right here so people can visit it and follow you.
I don't know what it is. I guess it's Alice Krige. I don't know.
We'll track it down.
Just look out for for Alice Krige on Facebook, and I'm somewhere in there.
Right, now, at this point, I have 3 interesting questions I'd like to ask you. What is your favorite food on a picnic?
I would probably... I was going to say champagne, but that's not exactly a food, is it?
People have just said, count it.
I don't know. What avocados. I love avocados.
Okay, avocados. We'll get you a bunch of avocados.
Thank you.
Okay, and is there a particular actor or actress that you would love to work with that you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
Oh, there are many. I couldn't single out one, but I have been extremely fortunate to work with very many amazing actors.
Well, that's great to hear. One last thing. If you were to be able to get a superpower of some kind, a magical ability, what ability would you like?
I would like the ability to truly be able to stand in another's shoes and also to be able to grant that to everyone I met.
So the power of super empathy, and you can make everyone feel empathy.
Yeah.
I think that would be an awesome power. I think there's not enough empathy in the world.
Thank you for asking the question.
Well, anything you want to say to your supporters and fans?
Just that I really appreciate people watching the work that I'm part of. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It was lovely. And thank everyone for watching. And as always, have fun and cosplay on.